Hey folks, going to be doing a sort of organizational video for Andromeda's Edge, the Deluxe Edition. I know that Cardboard Alchemy has a YouTube video up there on how everything goes back in here, but I did sleeve all my cards, so I thought maybe folks might want to see how everything fits with sleeved cards, because it is a little different from uh, what they showed in the video. So we will go ahead and get this open. Oh, there we go. All right, so I have the dice trays, foldable dice trays, just set on top. I have the extra sleeves. So there were, I don't know, maybe 10 of the normal sleeves, maybe 10 of the Euro size, and maybe 6 or 8 of the square ones left over. We will start with this here. So these are the developments, and you can see that the sleeve cards fit in here. This one over here fits at an angle because of the plastic here, so it doesn't have much play, but the rest of them can pretty much move around. This one has to be, it sits at an angle a little bit, but those went in quite nicely. Then we have the Raider tray here. I can get the lid off so that you can see. We got the pegs up here, and then we have all the bases down here for the ships to sit on. Pegs go on the bases, ships go on the pegs. Nothing out of the ordinary there, just the usual stuff. Get that back down on there, get that set aside. We'll go ahead and pull these out. These are the, what are they called? The tech trays, or the tech tiles. So the tiles are actually under here, and they are sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this open and try not to spill these, because nope, and they popped out. So I had some pop out. Yeah, you can see that setting them sideways, they do, the sleeved cards, while they do sort of somewhat fit, they don't actually, they pop above the dividers here. It does compress them when you put the lid on, and I assume maybe the hope is that at some point, if they're on there long enough, it'll compress it down to where they lay a little flatter, but that's how that all goes together. I'm not going to open up the other one because it's just more of the same. We can go through this one here next. So this is the tray that has your moons and nebulae discoveries, and then these are all the, I think they're called conflict cards. No, tactics cards. So normally if they were not sleeved, they would all fit in one well, but since they are sleeved, I had to split them between the two wells. They do pop up over the wells about, I don't know, about maybe 1/8 of an inch each. But this lid sits pretty squarely on top of them, so or firmly on top of them, so they shouldn't, once it's on there, you can see they don't really slide around that much. They stay in their wells. That one over there. All right, then we have the two, we'll get the two resource trays out of here. I basically set them up identically. Money, blue resource, black resource, iron or titanium, and then the activation or the energy cubes, and then the damage cubes in the center. You could probably do this one of 1,000 different, well, there's what, 7 wells. The green cubes have to go in those 2 wells. They're the only ones that really will fit them. and then the damage cubes have to go in the center well, but the top wells here you could probably rearrange however you want. I basically tried to split the pieces equally between them. Each side of the table gets a resource tray. Then we have the player trays here. They are all identical, so I'm just going to open up one so you can kind of see how it's all organized. You've got your dice here. You've got your workers, so to speak, here. Some cylinders here. Your starting ships are over here, stacked on top of each other, and then you have your 3 special ships. When you play the game, this is going to overlap on your mat, and you're going to use the top of this to organize your resources. And you can see it says the 4 in the center there, you can have a max of 5. The one over there on the left, you can have a max of 10, and then you can have 4 moons as resources. Then, let me get these resource trays put back in here. Then we have the ship upgrade tiles. The silver back are on the left, and the gold backs are on the right. Then we have a couple of different things here, so let me get these out. So, we have the event cards and the raider cards, plus the con and the unity probe card. So those are all on one side. These are all the raider cards. And on the other side, we have the event cards. However, when they are sleeved, you're going to have to take some of the event cards and put them on top of the raider deck because it just sits way too high. Either way, these cards, there's no lid for this. The lid is the bottom of this tray, and there's nothing there that's keeping those cards from moving around. It would have been nice if that tray had some molded plastic that came down that sort of like pushed into these 2 wells to hold those in place a little better, but there's nothing there to keep those sleeved cards from sliding away. Actually, what I think is, so in this thing that shows you how everything goes together, when it's talking about this, it only talks about the event cards. It doesn't, the raider cards are actually not listed on this sheet anywhere. I had to go to Board Game Geek, and somebody had posted a link to Cardboard Alchemy's video where they show how this goes back together, and then they show in the video putting the raider cards over here on the left. But I think they forgot when they were designing this initially that the raider cards were there, because if you were to take this deck and split it in half as sleeved cards, it fits perfectly, and it's not going to move around any at all. And then after the thought, they said, hey, we have all these other raider cards that are going to have to be sleeved to fit in there. What are we going to do? Well, we'll just use the other well, but these cards are going to slide. There's nothing, again, like I said, there's nothing keeping these cards in place, so they're going to be sliding all over the place. You are not going to be able to stand this box up on its end. It's going to have to lay flat. If you stand it up on its end, you're going to have pieces everywhere. Pieces and cards. And then below those 2 decks, we have the, oh gosh, what are those cards? The Destiny cards. They look like that on the front, and they have this back, and there's two wells. Again, if they're not sleeved, they'll fit in one well. If they are sleeved, you got to split them between these 2 wells. So we'll get the raider cards back in here. Take a couple of these cards from the top of the event deck and put them over here to organize things out. Even if I press down firmly on these 2 stacks, they come up flush with the well. So it's not. I think there was I think somebody forgot about something when they were designing this. If they didn't, then it's just poorly designed. Those are the 2 options. All right. Then beneath that whole tray, that whole plastic tray comes out. You've got the board. You're going to have your rule books. Escalation. Rules of play. Appendix. You're going to have your player boards. One for all, for each color. And then you're going to have your Unity mat. This is for the solo play. These, at least mine, do not fit where they're supposed to. These boards are larger than what the cutouts for in the tray. So they just sort of lay on top, and half of the cardboard, the player mat or the Unity mat sits inside, and the other half is just up on top of the well here. Then beneath that we have the reference sheets. So you have a reference sheet for each player plus a general reference sheet. Then you have these are all the commanders. They have the backs of level 3s through 1s. You have these are the combat or the conflict cards. Level 1s here, levels 2s and 3s here. These are sleeved, and then you have the whatever this token is goes right there. Then you have the player the player factions over here. Below that you have the scrapyard / repair barge board, and then you have the round tracker. Over here you have whatever this mini is. I can't remember what it's called. Then you have the solo components are right here in this little well. You have the replacement development cards, or not development, event cards, replacement event cards. Here are the replacement development cards, and then you have the Unity cards, event cards here. These two decks are sleeved as well as this. You have the big star style dice right here. I left them in the bag. And then in this little well, you have the two giant acrylic cylinders, which one's the round tracker and one is, I can't remember what the other tracker is. And then the 5 little gray marbled pieces. I just put them all in a single bag and slid them in here just to keep them more organized. And then you have wells for the tiles that are going to make up the board. So we'll go ahead and put this back in here. Get all this back together. You can see that this really doesn't lay flat. It doesn't sit in how it's supposed to. Rule books. Board. This tray of goodies. You've got your 2 technology trays that slide along the side here. Bad guy tray goes up here. Development tray goes right there. Extra sleeves. Dice trays. Your organizational guide can slide in the top of the box. And we just put the top of the box back on. There we go. And I've got maybe an 1/8 of an inch box lift with the dice, the tray sitting on top. So that is Organization of Andromeda's Edge Deluxe Edition with the cards sleeved. Again, I think they kind of forgot or didn't design very well for the Raiders cards, for them being sleeved. I think those event cards were originally designed to split between those 2 wells, and then nobody thought about where the Raiders sleeved cards would go. If you're not going to sleeve your cards, this is perfectly fine. If you are going to sleeve the cards, then it could be better. It's not the worst. There's just really that one well where they're going to slide around and get out. So there's definitely much worse inserts out there, but it is not as good as it could have been. Thanks for watching.